When you're in the NBA, it's a lot of things that you want to say, that you could say, but you know if you say it, there's gonna be repercussions. You could get in a lot of trouble. For example, a couple years ago when I played for the Houston Rockets, I tweeted "Free Palestine," and I dang near got kicked out the league for it. And I'm like trying to figure out why.
This is true. Let's pause the video here to show proof. And this is from The Atlantic, dated July 12th of 2014. Howard's tweet, seen right here. It would take only 15 minutes for Dwight Howard to delete the post. He wrote a second message which read, "Previous tweet was a mistake. I've never commented on international politics and never will." He'd then tweet once more. "Apologize if I offended anyone with my previous tweet. It was a mistake." Now back to that interview.
Before that, the conversation happened with some Palestinians, and they were telling me, I actually went to the movies one day. I was in the movies in Houston. A whole bunch of Palestinians was like, "Hey man, we're big fans of you. Can we watch movies with y'all?" So I'm like, "Cool, man." You know, when I was in Houston and Orlando and a lot of cities I played in, I would take fans to movies. I would take them to main event, do big events at David Buster's and stuff like that. So we go to the movies. After the movies, I'm taking pictures with all the fans and stuff like that. And they asked me to just bring some awareness to what's going on in their country. So, me having a big heart, I'm like,
the Christian thing to do.
Yes, I'm like, you know what? I want people to know the struggles y'all having. I don't think it's wrong. So I tweet "Free Palestine." Less than 10 minutes after I tweet that, I get a call from the commissioner of the NBA.
Stop it.
Agents, people like working with my foundation at the time, Texas, you gotta erase this tweet. You gotta take this down. You're gonna get it. I'm like, what did I do that was so bad?
Can somebody explain to me?
Yeah, can somebody explain? And it was just like because I went against the grain. I said something that people didn't like, and now
not people didn't like, they didn't like.
So now it's like I gotta stand on what I believe and how I feel, and not go back on it.
Yeah.
And when you're in the league, you be in that place where if I say too much, if I say something, I may not get a job no more.
That's that 70% of people that's out the league that got you.
I gotta hold my tongue, and that's so hard to do when you are faced with so many situations.
And hey, just a quick break in the action. You should go subscribe to my new show, The Rick Strom Show. I'm going to be interviewing people from sports, music, journalists, authors, sports doctors. It's going to be fantastic. Please go subscribe. Thank you. At the time, the comrade Dave Zirin would write for The Nation. NBA players, Dwight Howard, Amari Stoudemire, Metta World Peace, formerly Ron Artest, all received a withering backlash for daring to tweet, at the time, a desire to see an end to the casualties caused by Israel's relentless bombing campaign of Gaza. Metta World Peace, in a full defensive posture, was reduced to tweeting, "I'm not taking sides. I'm saying stop the BS and love the children. How can you do arts and crafts when bombs and guns are going off?" Stoudemire, who is Jewish and has funded an Israeli basketball camp, was pressured to delete a post on Instagram which contained a picture of an Israeli and Palestinian child arm in arm with the caption, "Pray for Palestine." Zionist of America President Morton Klein would also say at the time to TMZ, of all outlets, he, as in Dwight Howard, should be publicly condemned as strong as Donald Sterling was. Let's pause for a second. How one makes the comparison is beyond me. Because what you're doing is sticking up for the oppressed and the other is going after the oppressed. But nonetheless, Zirin would conclude, if people are mad at Dwight for saying, then deleting something, where is our anger for those with a major platform who are choosing to say nada? If anything, he performed a public service by showing how Palestinian people are imprisoned not only by walls, barbed wire, and checkpoints, but also, and this is something that we've seen a lot of, Western hypocrisy. And then he'd end with this. An athlete tweeting that is smacked down with an immediacy that speaks to how desperate the backers of Israel in the U.S. are to keep them insulated from even a whiff of criticism. Zion would say he's not mad at Dwight. He wants to thank him for showing with utter clarity what few will say openly, acknowledging the humanity of Palestinians comes with a price. Dr. Omar Suleiman had a post on Twitter. If you're wondering why your favorite athletes remain silent, or worse, publish Israeli propaganda, listen to what happened when Dwight tweeted that. Years later, it's quite interesting to see how NBA players choose to express their support. Kyrie Irving, a star in the league, wore a keffiyeh during a press conference, and I have my gripes with Kyrie. I have made those quite clear with some films that he has chosen to share. But ironically, after Mark Cuban sold off another portion of his ownership of the Dallas Mavericks, Irving essentially plays for Miriam Adelson. If you have no idea who she is, check out our clip on demand. She is the wife of the late billionaire MAGA donor Sheldon Adelson. Jaylen Brown also showed his support via a bracelet. But the NBA continues its support in a far different way. From Jacobin, many current and former players, including Rick Barry, David Robinson, the Admiral, officials in the NBA, Adam Silver, they have made regular trips to the country. There, they met with government officials, ran hoops clinics, met with soldiers, and even police. And on their return, they would gush about what they did there. None of them make any mention of Palestinian suffering or the occupied territories. And when on one occasion Israel insisted that there was no occupation, the NBA would oblige. In the year 2018, the list of options for fans voting for the All-Star Game included occupied Palestine. Israel's sports minister, who had earlier called Palestine an imaginary state, demanded it be taken down. The NBA would apologize and blame an outsourced firm. There's a lot more here. One of the biggest supporters on record has been Golden State Warriors big man and future Hall of Famer Draymond Green. He visited the country with a nonprofit called Friends of the Israel Defense Force. They organized the trip. Green met with the then president of Israel. He gifted the then president a signed Warriors jersey. He visited a CT unit, played hoops with soldiers, went to a sniper unit where he posed in army greens, and he was flat on his stomach holding a firearm in a shooting position. He took part in target practice with Israeli police. Some of the units he would visit are notorious in Israel for killing Palestinians merely for protesting the occupation. Ironically, he grew up in Saginaw, Michigan, which is fairly close to Dearborn, Michigan. We saw how Dearborn made its statement known in this past election. So I must say, when I saw this clip come about, I remember Dwight tweeting that and feeling confused and feeling somewhat angry because I just was not as familiar then as I am now. And it's very interesting to see the levers of power that are pulled, because at the time it felt wrong to speculate on what happened. But now that we have the information, it is quite a tell. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.